Hi, I'm Euge Valovirta, and this is about Legendary Tones MOD V2 EVO. Alright, that was Red Wolves, my other band's Crossing the Line from our debut album Sessions Volume 1, link in the description below. And I used my JCM800 203ZW Zakk Wylde signature, and I had the MOD V2 installed in the second preamp slot, like this is supposed to be used. No overdrives, nothing. The only effect I had was the wah-wah on the solo. So this is pretty cool thing. What this basically does is you can make your standard 800 a more aggressive, nastier, more gain, if you will, and so on. So this V2 EVO, it's a little bit advanced version of the original. So this has a bass switch. In the up position, it's like neutral. In the down position, it cuts the bass. I had it on down, so it tightens the low end. And the gain switch, it has two positions. Down, it's the original MOD V2 gain boost, and up, it boosts a little bit more gain, more compression, and adds a tiny bit of low end. So I had it like this, so I had it on the upper position, but then I compensated the low end boost by having the bass switch down, which cuts the boost, because I liked how this compresses the sound. Reminds me a bit of my favorite overdrive, which I use all the time, Boss Super Overdrive. When you put that in front of the amp, it just compresses the sound, the feel nicely, adds a little bit gain and cuts the low end. So this is indeed pretty cool mod. And this is really easy to install. Basically what you do, like you saw on the pictures and videos, you remove the V2, the second preamp tube, and then here's these pins, like on a preamp tube. You just put this in its place in the V2 slot, tighten the screw, so it's there, and then this ground switch you attach to ground, and I had it on the filter cap ring. Cool mod, you can do it yourself and take it off and on whenever you want. Okay, now I have the amp as a stock, so this is here, and some of you who followed my channel are probably familiar with the bad boy. here. It's from 1984. It's basically a stock. I mean, the power transformer is being changed and nothing, but there's no gain mods, nothing. But it's just extremely aggressive and badass sounding, as is my 85. So this has EL34s, this has 6550s, and this 6550s on the power section. So that's the best, most badass 800 I've ever played. I played hundreds, probably during my career. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna see if I can make this sound like this. Well, you heard in the song, it was pretty aggressive indeed. So let me put this now away, and I will play first. I will show you the differences with, you know, no gain mod added. Let me just get my guitar on. Okay, now both amps are on. So first the Zach Wildhead, basic, you know, presence around noon, treble around noon, mids a little bit over noon, bass almost full, master 6, preamp full. No overdrives or anything. So this is like your, you know, general, usual 800. Sounds awesome, but there's something missing, especially when compared to the bad boy. Okay, now let me boost both with super overdrive. Whoops. Okay, you can get this pretty close by turning lots of presence and treble. Okay, great amps, this is my absolutely favorite thing to do. Overdrive in front of the amp. It just tightens everything, adds nice compression, sustain, you know. And then clean sound is I just step the SD off. And roll down the volume. Really simple. Okay, then what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna put the hot mod in place, and I'm trying to get this one to sound like the bad boy. Okay, now I've installed the hot mod there, picture. So the settings are now like what I had them when I didn't have the hot mod. So let's listen how it sounds compared to the bad boy. First the bad boy, no overdrives, anything. Okay, and then this. As you can hear, there's lots of gain, lots of low end. Too much for me, so we need to do, because what this does to the amp, it just doesn't add gain. Because instead of 3 preamp tubes, now there's 4, so it adds everything. Low end, high end, gain. The power section behaves differently. Now I think the master is 5.5. It was a bit too much with the hot mod. So first I'm gonna find the sweet spot for the master, because now with the hot mod, the preamp section is pushing so much, so hot signal to the power amp section. So I think this level, it's a bit too much. So let's dial that first. Okay, now it was a little bit better, I think. Also a little bit quieter. So with the hot mod, you don't need to crank the master so loud to get that powerful 800 roar, what you know, have to do without the mod, unless it's a bad boy. Okay, then, well, definitely too much gain, too much low end, okay? Okay, let's compare to Bad Boy. Quite close. Okay, let's see how they sound with the super overdrive in front. Okay, first Bad Boy. A bit too much. Let's back the... Okay, so the thing is with the 800s, because there's the bright cap. When you crank the preamp, the more you turn it, the effect isn't that audible. But when you start to back up the preamp gain, the bright cap, the hardness becomes more audible. So let me see. I put the gain switch to down, so there's not that much gain from the hot mod. A lot better, because now I can increase the preamp so that the harsh kind of bright cap thing isn't that audible. Without SD. Bad Boy. Okay, then this one with SD. Well, bad boy is a bad boy, but I think it's quite close. At least with the hard mod, this amp is it's a different beast, and now my settings are quite different than how they were when I didn't have the hard mod. Like I said, it affects the whole, how the amp behaves. So, sorry, in my opinion, there's two ways, or at least how I would use the hard mod. One is just to increase gain. You know, if you don't like to use overdrive in front, you want to have a cable in the amp, but you feel that you need a little bit more, then for the gain. If you're like me, I always need to have SD1 in front. I just feel so comfortable with it. The way it, you know, the way it feels and how it sounds. Because I like the clipping circuit, what it has. SD1 clipping into tube amp overdrive. But, so the second way, if I want to use this with, I don't need gain. I just want to make the amp more badass, like the bad boy. So then, this works really well on that too. Because when you add that, you add another preamp tube, kind of like JCM800 SLX. The SLX is basically 800, but just with added one more preamp tube. Because basic 800 has 3, SLX has 4. Now this has 4. Now, what I did, I kind of made my 802.3 into JCM900 SLX, which is my favorite 900, JCM900. But then, so the amp just becomes meaner. That way you could make your own 800 closer to bad boy. I mean, it won't be the same, but now this is pretty close to the bad boy. And yes, there's two different ones. So one that works with these reissues, like this Zach Wild, which is basically a 203X, and like this Plexi reissue, 1987X. And then there's another version which works with these old amps. I tried the original on these, but it was just too much, like, whoa. So these one, they don't need anything. They're stuck and they're fantastic. But this one, yeah. Hey, links to Legendary Tones website in the description below. Hopefully this was interesting and informative. And if you liked, you know the drill. Thumbs up, hit the bell button, subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.